So thank you, you four, for joining us tonight. We have Jon with Chambliss tonight. He's going to talk to us about housing. A few more people might jump on, but in the meantime, Jon's going to talk to you guys and get to know you, ask you some questions. Feel free to unmute, obviously, as he has a conversation with you. So thank you so much, Jon, for being here with us tonight. And I'm just going to mute myself and hand it over to you.
Right on. All right. Howdy, Rise Upians. I just thought of that. How does that feel when I say that? Kind of okay. Well, let's, I don't know who y'all are. Y'all don't know who I am. So let's start off with a good old fashioned fun icebreaker. Y'all have never done an icebreaker. I can tell from the looks on your faces, you've never done an icebreaker in your entire life, meaning you've done all the icebreakers. So, well, this one it'll be more lengthy just because we're going to be talking about housing and all that goes with that. I want to hear what your thoughts about it are, what your plans are, if it's college, if it's this, if it's that, and to see if we can talk through and process a little bit and figure out kind of what works best and for your particular situation. So cool. So I'll do 4 questions for the icebreaker. So, well, not an icebreaker, just a getting to know you thing. So your name, I want to know how old you are. I'll share this information as well, so don't worry. I want to know what brings you here, even though I your captive audience, you were told that if you didn't come here, you wouldn't get screen time or something like that. And then I want to know what you want to be when you grow up. And what are you going to do to get there? So what's the plan? Because that all has to do with housing. So I'll start. My name is Jon Berestecky. I am, who wants to guess my age? This is always fun. Go for it, Blake.
35.
Oh, you're okay. Anybody else want to take a guess?
28.
Yeah, cool.
32.
32, 35, 28. All right, we got a 30 average so far. Jake, what are you thinking? Ding, 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 ding.
30?
No. I'm 36 years old. That's fun. I've got 3 kids. They're 8, 10, and 11. They'll be like 6th grade, 5th grade, and 4th grade or something like that. I don't know. And I'm here to talk about housing because I work in housing and stuff. What do I want to be when I grow up? I think I want to be something that, I'm really into helping folks like heal from trauma. So maybe I want to be some kind of a therapist. So somebody who helps people get over hard situations so that they can become their full selves and create beautiful things in the world. So whatever that is. And how I'm going to get there, I'm going to just do some of the work I'm doing right now, continue to learn and grow, and just connect with people, especially young. I work with 18 to 21-year-olds. So yeah, I'm going to stay engaged. So let's go around. So Jake, I see your name is Jake. I know that, unless it's a lie. No, it's true. Okay. How old are you, Jake?
14.
14. And what brings you here?
15.
You're 15?
Yes.
Oh, my bad. All right. What brings you here?
I don't really know. I usually have to come here.
I can't hear you.
I usually have to come here.
Yeah, you do. For learning and engagement and enrichment and all those good words. And what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Not what you're supposed to be. What do you want to be deep down inside?
A movie producer.
A movie producer? Sick.
Yeah.
Are you doing that now? Are you producing?
No.
No. Okay, really cool. And what are you going to do to get there? How are you going to reach your dreams?
I don't really know.
Okay, so you got some work to do to research, right?
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Katie, how about you? How old are you?
I'm 16.
16. And what brings you here?
An opportunity to learn and gain more skills.
Right on. Right on. And how about you? What do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to go into the law arena.
Yeah.
I'm sure which like what specific job I want to go into, but either the criminal justice field or international relations.
Okay, so you want to go to school for a long time, it sounds like. That's awesome. Right on, totally cool. I guess that's how you'll get there, right? You'll go to college and then law school and try to get lots of opportunities and learn. Sweet.
Yeah.
Blake, how about you? How old are you?
I'm 13.
13 years old, and you are a true Rise Upian, so you're here to learn and engage and grow. And what do you want to be when you grow up?
A business owner / entrepreneur.
What kind of business do you want to own?
I'm not really sure yet.
Just, it doesn't matter. You just want to start it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. How are you going to get there?
By getting the grades and trying to get a good degree in college.
Yeah, totally. And Allie, how old are you?
I am 14.
14. And what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be an interior designer.
Oh, awesome. And how are you going to get to do that?
Probably major in design and minor in architect.
Okay, so I hear some college, right? Probably 4-year. You're saying design and architecture. Sweet. All right. And then who do we have on in the bottom there? Unmute. How's it going?
Remember me, Tiana's friend. Can you see me?
Who's Tiana's friend?
Lanisha.
Lanisha, what are you doing?
Man, let me tell you, you got a lot to talk about.
Lanisha, where you at?
Hold up. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. What's good, Lanisha?
Not too much, man. Ugh, I got to tell Tiana. I was trying to get your number from her the other day, but like she never texted me back.
It's all good. We'll link. We can link up afterwards, or I can shoot it in the chat, or you can get it from from Sandy. So where are you calling in from?
I'm Bethel. I'm at Bethel.
Okay, awesome. At Bethel Bible Village. So that tells me what brings you there. And Lanisha, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm grown. Not just playing. No, it's pretty much. Remember, I was telling you I want to be a doctor. Well, I changed it to a PA because I'm pregnant. Well, you don't know I'm pregnant. So I got pregnant.
I know now.
Yeah, so I'm having a boy. So I decided to share in my just right now. PA school basically. And
okay.
Then
we got 2 people working towards their associate degrees right now.
Yeah, I'm about to graduate, by the way.
Who else is on screen?
I'm Morgan. I'm the social worker at Bethel, and then we have another resident here who's popping in and out.
And awesome. I'm the residential assistant, I guess you could say, their house manager.
Awesome. You guys are local. So I know Lanisha. I'm Jon Berestecky, I was sharing earlier. I am the transitional living, I'm the director of transitional living at Chambliss Center for Children. And with our program, we serve young people 18 to 21 who have aged out of foster care, which means they turned 18 in foster care and didn't have anywhere to go. And so they connect with a program like ours, and we provide housing and case management and just everything they need because they don't have a whole lot of people to depend on. So that's what I do in my day in and day out. And through that work, I've had to learn an awful lot about housing, just how important it is for folks to have safe, reliable, affordable housing, about what it feels like to be unhoused and what kind of challenges that poses, what it takes to access all different kinds of housing, how much it costs to afford a quality place to live, what options are out there, what options aren't out there, what kind of voucher or public assistance programs are out there. And then also a lot of my work is thinking about ways to create new housing programs to find the gaps. Like, so who in our population is not being served, who's at risk of being homeless, and how do we create new things so that we can serve folks like that? So that's a lot of my world and my work. Does anybody have any questions about that in particular before we kind of move on and start to do some processing about each of y'all and what your housing goals are and what it could look like? No questions whatsoever. Sounds fun. Katie, you said criminal justice. I was a probation officer before I came into this line of work. So lots of engagement with attorneys and police officers and folks who were mixed up with the criminal justice system. So that was quite an experience. Lanisha, we can certainly talk more later. It is good to see you, though. It is good to see you. And I hope you are healthy and baby is healthy. And it looks like you're getting good support over there. So that makes me happy. So yes. All right. So I had all kinds of different housing experiences growing up. My dad was in the military, so we lived growing up in government housing where the government paid for it because my dad was in the Army. And so that was something. My parents bought a home. And so I lived we were homeowners. And so I had some security. I knew we weren't going to get evicted because they were paying the mortgage every month. I lived in a college dorm for about a semester and a half. I don't want to talk about that half semester. It didn't quite go well, but that's another story. I lived in a college apartment where I didn't have a meal plan. I was cooking on my own. I had 4 roommates. We all had we lived in kind of a quad. So it was 4 rooms in one apartment. And then we rented an income-based apartment when I was young. So an apartment with lower rent because I didn't make any money. And then I've also been a homeowner. So I bought a home. So I've had a variety of different housing experiences. And of course, I've worked with folks who were in public housing and in transitional housing. And so I've kind of gotten a peek into that world as well. So we're talking about housing, and a lot of this has to do with what you expect versus what you can get. Expectation versus reality. So I know each of us on this Zoom may have lofty expectations when you think about where you're going to live in the future and what that place is going to look like, all the amenities. But then when it comes time to find a place, you might be hit with a harsh reality of, well, I can't quite afford that. So this is really about what you want versus what you can afford. And so important in you figuring out what kind of housing is right for you at what time is identifying your values. What is important? Also, what is available? What's an option? So just to keep this interactive, as you think about where you want to live, and we can say in the next 5 to 10 years, when y'all will be out on your own, what do you think are some things that are important to you? What are some values? Think about, do you like spending time outside versus spending time inside playing video games? Or you just need somewhere to crash because you're going to be working and in school all the time. You're not really going to be in your place that much. Do you need to be close to work or school? Commute time matters. Do you want to be in the coolest part of town, or, that kind of thing? You're going to spend, the cooler it is, the more you're going to spend. So just kind of going around what's important when you think about where you want to live. Blake, what do you got, man? What are you thinking?
Where I want to live, I want to have probably a nice kitchen that, like, a place that is not too small, but doesn't have to be too big, but has a nice kitchen because I really like cooking and baking, but it's also close to my job.
Awesome. What else? What else is going to be important as we think about where we're going to live? What are some values? What's valuable to you? Who's an outdoors person? Who wants to have? Nope. Yeah, me either. Yeah, kind of like, yeah. There are a lot of outdoors people in Chattanooga who really enjoy. The extreme of that is like living in a van. I don't want to recommend this for anybody, but like outfitting a van with like a bed and just, maybe getting a gym membership so you can shower there, but just driving around and living off the land, climbing rocks, all that stuff. So that's not my professional recommendation. Please don't try that. It will upset your parents. Agreed. What's up, Katie?
I think that I would want somewhere close by where I was working or going to school. It doesn't need to be big. Like, it could probably all be one room, that'd be fine. But I would want access to a washer and dryer, whether that's in my unit or in the building.
Good
But
to
I
think about.
have to lug all of my laundry to a laundromat.
Sure. All important things. Super sweet. All right. Well, since my first thing here is just thinking about college housing, since it sounds like a number of y'all are tracking for what might be dorm living, right? By show of hands, who thinks you'll be living in a dorm at some point in the next near future? Blake, you're starting businesses. You got no time for dorms, right?
I'm planning. I was hoping to get be able to go to school and get my business degree at UTC.
Right on. Well, I've
Or
got
like-
some numbers. That's kind of where I did some research. Katie, you were going to say something?
Oh, I am attending MTSU in the fall, so I'm like in the process of getting a dorm room there.
Mm-hmm. Where's that?
Middle Tennessee State University.
Okay, yeah. So those prices are comparable to UTC, right? So in just doing some research, so a dorm, which is where you live on campus, it's super convenient. A lot of times they require you to have a meal plan, right? So you've got to eat in the caf, which also is very, very convenient because most 18-year-olds have no idea how to cook for themselves regularly and would only eat like Pop-Tarts and pizza rolls. And you just can't live off that. Blake, don't try it. Don't try it. I see your eyes, they lit up. You're like, oh yeah, balanced diet. So dorm prices, looking at UTC, which is kind of a middle of the road state school. Obviously, these prices are going to be way different if you're going someplace out of state. Out of state tuition costs are just crazy. Or if you're going to a private, college. But for a state school, a dorm cost is around, on average, about $4,000 per semester. So that's $4,000 per like 5-month block. Comes out to about $800 a month. Now, a lot of dorms require, or universities require, young people to also have a meal plan, right? So a meal plan is you're getting 2 to 3 meals a day, 6 to 7 days a week. Again, very, very convenient. You're not having to think about what to eat. You can just go fuel up and study. Meal plans are about $3,500, so $3,500 per semester, or about $700 per month. So between a meal plan and dorm, we're already at $7,500 per semester, right? Some other options are like on-campus apartments, where you can have anything from like, 2 bedrooms in an apartment to 4 bedrooms in an apartment. And those things can be $400 to $800 a month, really depending on what kind of roommate situation you want. And a lot of times you're not required to have any kind of meal plan for those. So those can be half the cost of a dorm. Blake, what's up, man?
Would it be cheaper to go for an on-campus or an off-campus apartment?
So some off-campus apartments are also geared towards students and will offer some of the same deals. And they'll also do matching for roommates. So if you want to get a roommate, they'll already be like, okay, we found somebody for your unit. We'll pair you guys up. We'll already split the rent, that sort of thing. For other kind of off-campus apartment places, sometimes you're on the hook to find your own roommate and you guys are both signing the lease. So you have to make sure you have somebody you can trust, right? Who is going to work and have reliable income, pay their portion of the rent and the utilities. So it can be a good deal if you're ready to cook for yourself, if you've got transportation to campus reliably, and if you can find somebody to crash with, right? So in that case, it would be an okay deal, and could be a cheaper deal for sure. So living at home obviously is going to be the best deal, right? If that's an option, that's just going to be a win. Yeah, crash in your parents' basement or whatever. How are you going to pay for it? So we're already talking about $4,000 per semester for a dorm. Meal plan at $3,500. That's $7,500. And if you add in tuition costs, so at like UTC, that's like $5,000 per semester. So with tuition, dorm, and meal plan, you're up at $12,500 per semester. There are 2 semesters in a year if you don't go in the summer. So that's like $24,000, $25,000. Government grants. For a lot of folks, you can get some money back from the government to help pay for college. But that really maxes out at about $3,400 per semester. So really not even enough to cover all of tuition, right? So if you get the max amount you can get in a Pell Grant, $3,400, that still leaves you owing about $9,000 per semester. How do you think you're going to pay that? How are you coming up with that money? What are you thinking, Blake?
if you get a good grade on your ACT, then you can get good scholarship money.
Absolutely. Scholarship money, scholarship money, scholarship money. Those take work, right? To search for scholarships, to find the right ones that are going to fit for your school, to finish those applications, to write the essays, to stay motivated, to keep at it, right? So that really is a job, to look for scholarships and to work with somebody. It's helpful if you have a parent who's really engaged that way, or a school counselor who can really push you and do those sorts of things. What are some other options you think for paying for that stuff?
Real quick question. Does
Yeah.
the government grants, does that only apply for on-campus housing? Or
No, if you're getting a Pell Grant, that's money you're getting back, and that's for living expenses, tuition, all that sort of stuff. So, for example, no, I mean, you can use it for anything. Yeah, you can use it for anything. Lanisha knows about Pell Grants.
You know about Pell Grants? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Lanisha, are you still at Chat State?
Yep. I'm about to get, I still get the Pell Grant.
Yep. So, and that's about, I'm right, it's about $3,400 per semester. So that's kind of the max there. Any other questions on any of that stuff? Student loans, guys, this is, if you don't have savings to pay for the rest of this cost, then we're talking about taking loans out, and you have to repay them as soon as you're done with school. You can stay in school for the rest of your life and never repay them, but that sucks. So don't do that. Or you can work and try to make money while you're in school so that you can pay this stuff off little by little. Often it's a combination of grants, scholarships, loans, and work that are going to be your best deal, right? So, and student loans are not a bad deal if you know you're going to graduate, and if you're graduating with a degree that's going to pay you back, right? So that does not mean social work or psychology. That means like architecture and jobs that actually pay. So don't be me. All right.
What if I found like switch over to, I think, independent? Do I get more money back for the Pell Grant?
Say it again.
If I go back, okay, so right now I'm still like considered like a dependent of my mom.
Okay.
So what if I go like independent? Do I get more money?
Yep. With financial aid, they are basing it off your parents' tax income if they claim you as a dependent. I think that's from the past 2 years is what they're looking at. So if you claim yourself as a dependent or is independent filer, then you're basically saying you were in charge of all your own finances, and that's what they're going to take into account when deciding how much money to give you back. Which it sounds like that's kind of the situation you're in.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So that's a FAFSA thing. That's the federal financial aid application. Who's familiar with FAFSA? I know Katie, I see you nodding. That's real. That's immediate for you right now. I know that's in your world. The rest of y'all figure it out when times come to apply for scholarships and financial aid. Any other? I mean, that's just kind of my breakdown of college living. It's a lot of fun. Any questions about that at all? No?
can you talk more about not living in a dorm if you're doing off-campus housing and what that would look like?
Yep. So that's my next piece. Getting a place to live outside of school, right? And really, we can't talk about housing without talking about a living wage. How are you going to pay for this stuff? Anybody heard that term, a living wage? So this is what it costs in a particular place to cover all of the expenses that have to do with living. I'm talking about housing, of course, medical care sometimes, transportation, the cost of food, utilities, just all the bills you might have for a normal person, right? Within a given month. So looking at here, Chattanooga, since most of us here are in chat, about $15 an hour is where you need to land to earn a living wage or to make enough to live off of and to cover all of your bills and to not have that stress every month of just not having enough. So $15 an hour or about $32,000 per year. Blake, what's up, man?
I was wondering if you can't get a job that pays you $15 an hour, how many hours would you have to work for that 15 hours to like it to equal the $15 an hour? Like, could you get more hours per day to pay
Yeah, so
off?
yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about this. If you want to be working 80 hours a day, so minimum wage right now is what, 7.25, right? So that's not even half of what's considered a living wage, right? Fast food places will pay, I would say, on average between $8 to $10 per hour. If you find a $10 an hour fast food job, I mean, that's kind of a decent paying fast food job. Some of the downside there is you're only going to get 20 to 30 hours per week. A lot of them avoid having full-time employees. They don't want to pay insurance or give them benefits. So it's really going to be a struggle there. You do see a lot of the working, who's heard of the term the working poor? So these are folks who are employed, right? But they are working a job where it does not allow them to earn enough to live off of. So folks who are earning, at that $8 to $10 an hour range, they're working and they're working hard, right? If any of you guys have working fast food is not easy. And if you're working even two of those jobs so that you can get 50 hours or 60 hours a week, you're still not going to get enough for the most part to earn that living wage. It goes way up if you have kids. The living wage with one kid is about $23 an hour, you know? So just to think of it, if you're a mom or a single mom or a single dad, and you're working 50, 60 hours a week at a fast food job because you have maybe little education, for one, you're away from that kid, for large amounts of the day. And then at the same time, you're not earning enough to really make it. And that's constant stress. So warehouse or manufacturing, think about working at Amazon or Volkswagen, these big kind of manufacturing warehouse places we have here. Those are start by paying around $14 to $16 an hour. So some of the downsides are long hours and sometimes weird hours, 12-hour shifts that can go late into the night. They are physically demanding jobs, right? So they can take a lot out of your body. And if you get injured, you're not going to be able to do work, to fulfill the needs of the job, and you won't have that job anymore. It can also be difficult to move up in those kind of positions. If you're kind of doing grunt work on the low level, you can, maybe stay there for a long time before you can get opportunities to promote to less grueling work types. So the pay is better, the hours are better, the hours are weird, and the work is hard. Professional certifications, thinking about welding, cosmetology, mechanic degrees, those are typically offered through community college trade schools, right? And there's often really good government grants and even local or state grants to help pay the cost of those things, even in full. So on average, those programs can cost between $5,000 and $7,000, at a community college, and they last between 1 and 2 years. But with that 1 to 2 year investment, right, where you're going to school, 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock Monday through Friday, so it's kind of like a job, but you're learning the skill, you're learning this trade. You're going to come out with the skills to get a job in a good job. And a lot of those places when you look at students who graduate from those trade schools, 80 to 90% end up getting a job in the next 6 months. A lot of times employers will go and they'll recruit from those schools and they're looking for newly certified employees. So you're looking at between $16 and $22 an hour to start in a lot of those fields. Some of the heavy, some mechanic and welding, those are toward the higher end. Sometimes cosmetology and some of the medical fields are around 16 and 17. There are more kind of advanced medical professions, surgical tech, dental hygienist, that can pay even in excess of $20 an hour. And again, you'll get good full-time hours. The work is less grueling. It's not going to tear your body up to do that kind of work. And there's opportunity to advancement within your field, So again, 1 to 2 years of kind of college or trade school investment, and there you go. You're earning a living wage. I have a note here: make a friggin' budget. Tell your money what to do. Yeah, this isn't a budgeting seminar. Any questions about living wage and all that kind of stuff? Blake.
So I said that I want to be a business owner, but I was thinking about maybe since I was going to get a business degree,
Yeah.
Before starting my own business, maybe getting another job at like an already successful company to like
Mhm.
help me pay for the opening a business. And if you have a business management degree and you apply for a managing job for a successful company, would
Mhm.
you make more money than the other jobs you're talking about because you're already at management level, or would you still make about the same and have to work your way up to get more?
You're always going to make more with a 4-year degree. The more education you get, the more money you're going to make by and large. Okay. Some of the exception is with these trade professions. You know, some folks can make 60, 80 hours or $80 an hour if they own their own business. So that could be another route to owning your own business, is getting certified within a trade, and then learning to do that skill, working with customers, and then before long you can branch off and do your own thing. But with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or more, you know, the more education you get, typically the more money you get. Yeah, yeah, usually except for in social work and related fields. Again, no. So, Lanisha, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about housing outside of college setting, right? Or just kind of market rate type stuff. You hear me? That's fine. We'll keep going on that. So, when you're looking for an apartment just in the community, you're out there just putting applications, just some things you need to remember. First, it really, really helps to have established credit history and work history. A lot of these places are, they want to see that you have a reliable source of income. They're going to want to see 3 months to 6 months of pay stubs at a certain rate. Some apartments won't even rent to you unless you can show you've made this amount of money, right? They're looking that just to make sure you can afford your rent. You're going to be able to pay the bill you say you can pay. Credit history. Credit is just a record of, if you've borrowed money, have you paid that money back? Have you paid that money back on time? How much have you borrowed? How long did it take you to pay that back? And it's not just a credit score. So they give you a score, 600 to 820 or something like that. That tells how, worthy you are or how good your credit is. But it's how long you've had your credit, right? So I think you can start kind of really establishing your credit at 18 years old. And a really great way to do that is with going to a local credit union and using a secured loan program. And those work with basically you put $500 in a savings account, they lock it, right? So that money's not going anywhere. Then they give you a loan for $500, and in the next 6 months you're paying that loan back. They don't do a credit check before issuing that kind of loan. And every month you pay back, they tell the crediting agency, like, hey, so and so made their payment on time. So and so made their payment on time. Your credit score goes up. Your credit history starts to look good, and that's a great safe way for a young person to start building their credit. That's how young folks in my program start building their credits, and it seems to be working well. So I put here, show up to apply for housing like you're showing up to apply for a job. All right. You a lot of times are interacting with a person, and they're deciding who to give a particular unit to. Right now, it's super competitive in our housing market. There are more people looking for places to live than there are places available. It's like that in Chattanooga right now, but it's like that in a lot of places and a lot of kind of growing cities all over America. Unfortunately, discrimination does happen. I worked with a lady who her job was to go to apartment complexes and to see if they would rent to her. She was a professional, presented well. She was a Black woman. And the experience that she had, and she had to report this to the city, was she would go, they would tell her, I'm sorry, we don't have any units available for you. I apologize. And then another person would come, a white woman, looking of similar stature, whatever. And they would rent to her, right? So that's housing discrimination based off of race. That's illegal. Unfortunately, it does happen. So, right now, what I'm hearing about is apartment complexes taking 20, 30 applications and collecting application fees, which is when you go to apply for an apartment, they say, hey, it's $50 to even apply for us to even look at your paperwork. So what's happening is they're taking 30 applications, even though they know they only have one apartment and they've already assigned it to somebody. So they're doing that just so they can get, what's $50 times 30, 5 times 3, 18. It's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. It's also, so it's an unethical practice, but it's something we're hearing about right now through our folks who do homeless assistance. Criminal history matters. They're going to run not only a credit check, they're going to run a criminal history check. You know, when I was working in the world of probation, oftentimes I would write letters for my probationers, explaining kind of their criminal history and asking apartment complexes to work with them. So advocacy matters. If you are, if you think there are barriers to you getting housing, it matters if you have a case manager or a professional person who can kind of write something on your behalf or even go with you to vouch for you. Those relationships matter. Advocacy matters. So Katie, it could be something that you engage in down the road in your professional career as you look to advocate for people you work for and you work with. The price for a 1-bedroom can range from really, you know, $600, $700 to $1,600 a month, depending on where you're living, the quality. 2 bedrooms can be more affordable, but again, like Blake, you were talking about, then you've got a roommate and you have to make sure that the person you're looking to share a unit with is trustworthy and is going to do what they say they're going to do and make the payments that they say they're going to make on time. Be sure to understand what utilities are included in the price, you know, water and electricity, even internet sometimes. A lease is just an agreement between the person offering the unit, the person who owns it, and the person who's going to be renting it. And it's an agreement that you sign on. It's a contract that says, I'm going to pay this much money each month for this long. Typically, leases are a year in length. And if you do not pay and you break a lease, which means if you don't pay your rent 1 month, you can be evicted. An eviction is when you don't pay your rent and the landlord, the owner of the property, files this court paper, and then that goes on your permanent record. And then when you go to try to get another apartment or a house, rent a house in the future, you get flagged. Oh, you have this eviction on your record. I'm sorry, you didn't pay for that last place. There's no way I'm giving you this new place. So that can be a real difficulty with folks who have an eviction on the record. You know, finding housing. Fortunately, right now we have what's called an eviction moratorium. Our city has put a stop on evictions because so many folks have lost jobs and income due to COVID. You know, so they, you know, it's a little stopgap. The other side of that is people who own those properties that are relying on that rent. They're not getting paid right now. So there's some relief out there for them as well, but it's a difficult situation. We talked about deposits and application fees. They charge you to even look at an apartment, to even apply. If you are chosen to receive a rental unit, they're going to want a deposit. Usually, they want like the first month's rent. So you have to have $700, $800, $900 on hand, you know, at the time of application. So it's really, really important that you are able to save a little money if you know you're going to be looking for an apartment. The idea is when you're ready to move out after that year, when your lease is up, that you get that $800 back, that $900 back, right? It's a deposit. You're supposed to get it back. They will only give it back to you if the apartment is in the very same condition that you found it in. I've heard too many stories of people who went to all lengths to clean their apartment and they got back just a small portion of that. Go ahead, Allie.
Does like changing the interior count as like, would you not get as much back if you like painted the walls or something?
Absolutely. If you paint the walls, they're going to have to repaint it back, unless there was, you know, something that said, yeah, you can paint one wall, you know. But other than that, they're going to have to paint it all back. If you scuff the paint and you try to do a touch up, and it doesn't look like it's, you know, it matches perfectly, they'll say, well, we had to go paint the whole wall back, and that's $100. If there's a stain in the carpet, you name it. It really sounds like, and a friend of mine who works a lot with renters, he basically just says, don't expect to get that money back. So when you offer that deposit, just have it in your head. So an important thing you can do to kind of protect yourself, if you are looking to get that money back, is you take a picture of everything when you first move into a unit. Sometimes they'll tell you to do this, and then you report those issues immediately to the property management company. It can be difficult to remember this in the excitement of getting into a new place and moving in and all those things. but it is so important to document, take those pictures, even take video. So that way when they say, hey, you broke that toilet seat, you must have been jumping on. You're like, no, it was broken when I moved in. You see this picture? It's dated, the day I moved in, at the time. And when you have all that evidence, they, it paints a different picture. So, what else, Blake? What you got?
Since they give you like a contract, like with your lease for the apartment, and like what you can and cannot do in the apartment.
Yeah.
What would happen if you did something that you were allowed to do, but they still charged you for it, even though it never said you couldn't do that in your contract?
That'd be busted. You think they would do that? I do. Yeah. The answer is yes. I mean, so there's a litigation process that not many people want to go into. You can research renters' rights, tenants' rights, that sort of stuff, just to kind of see. Hopefully, it doesn't get there. Hopefully, it doesn't get there. And most people don't really go to those lengths. But if you've got stuff documented, that's the best protection you can have on the front end. So, other questions. I've got more, I could say about, voucher programs and public housing, certainly transitional living, young people who are aging out of foster care. That is really my world. I wanted whatever information I presented to be pertinent to the most folks who are on the call here. And it just sounds like a lot of y'all are college bound and looking at market rate apartments and stuff like that. So,
We have a question. Lanisha has a question.
Yeah, so John, eventually, my kid, I do plan on, moving from here, cause we got a 1-bedroom, and I don't want to be stuck home with the kid, no offense, cause to the kid, I mean, I love the kid, but I think I know I'm gonna love the kid.
What's your question?
But look, pretty much, I need to figure out something, cause I know I'm gonna have 4 more years of school, so I need to out if there's any programs that can kind of affordable housing while I'm in school.
Yes. So
full-time students and single moms.
So there's Momentum is a program for
they got to call me back,
So there's probably a wait list for their housing. There's probably a list for their housing. There are housing voucher programs. Okay. So that's going through kind of homelessness assistance. How does the housing you're in right now classify? Is this transitional housing or what?
Yeah, we're in transitional housing.
You're in transitional. Do you guys work with the Housing Authority or with the Homeless Coalition?
We are a separate nonprofit. I'm not completely sure. I know we're connected to an organization, but I don't know which ones. As far as homelessness and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, the plan is for people to obtain independent living and independent housing.
Okay. And then for most of the folks there, are they accessing public housing options, vouchers? Are they applying for those sorts of things? Or
yeah, those are the kind of resources we want to know more about.
Okay. So we can definitely, I want to follow up with you, Kim, and certainly you, Lanisha, more so I can talk specifically to your situation. I can say we are currently I'm working on an effort to bring dedicated resources for 18 to 24-year-olds who are experiencing homelessness. Right now, that it's certainly there's a gap in terms of services specifically for that population. A lot of times young folks are on their own and homeless, and they don't score as high for voucher preference because they don't have 2 or 3 kids. There's larger, smaller family size. So that puts them at a disadvantage for gaining vouchers. And then when you get a voucher, the problem is finding a housing unit that will receive that voucher, right? Especially now because there's such a scarcity because of the eviction moratorium, but for other factors as well with that housing. Y'all are having a party over there, so I just keep going.
We got too many of us.
Too many of y'all. So yeah, so we are working on developing, like I said, dedicated resources, bringing in some funding to the Chattanooga area specifically for young people like Lanisha. Lanisha, you didn't age out of foster care, right? You weren't in foster care.
I was never in foster care. I honestly don't know how I got here, but no, seriously, like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a story. There's always a story.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll talk to you.
Yeah. So,
As far as more specific resources, I'll probably reach out to you at some point.
yeah. Let's talk because I need to know more particulars
Yeah,
to see kind of where
I appreciate that.
where to route her. But also, I'd like to build just a relationship with y'all there so that we can link up more in the future as you're serving young people.
Yeah, we have a party. So.
Yeah, totally. So, help is on the way. Yeah, cool. What else? I think we're coming. We're 45 minutes in, 47 minutes in. I think we've hit some good stuff. Any questions about just things and stuff? Anybody else?
Can you be a homeowner while in college, or is it like not recommended?
Yeah. So to be, we didn't even get into homeownership. You need to be a homeowner, you need good credit. And oftentimes if you're 18, 19 in college, you don't have the credit history in order to rent, to borrow enough money to get a mortgage. Now, if you've got like $200,000 just in the bank hanging out, you can go buy a house, 150,000. Do you have that kind of money? Second question, can I have some? No. So, so in college, you're thinking about safely building your credit. You're thinking about investing in your education so that it will, you can get a job that's going to pay you enough so you can save to eventually buy a home, right? That's kind of that. Blake, what you got, man?
How old do you have to be to have a bank account where you can get interest on it?
Oh, a bank account with interest. That's a good question. I don't know. I know a lot of those accounts are like savings types accounts, right? So you're thinking about money you're not touching for a long time because you want that money to grow. And there may be other places that are better to put your money that will have higher yields, right? You'll get more money back on it than just a savings account or something like that. So you need to start looking at, investment accounts and how to make money grow, not Bitcoin. Okay, it's dangerous. Or NFTs. Who's heard of NFTs? Non-fungible tokens. Anybody? Nope. That's fine. We won't talk about that. What else? All right. I think we made use of the time. Anybody, something that jumped out to you? Anything that seemed interesting or new information for you in this whole talk thing?
What stuck out to me was the documenting like everything, like all of it.
Yeah.
Does that also like apply to like dorm rooms and stuff?
If they are requiring a deposit or if they say they will charge you for damages, and I would just talk to an RA in that sense, or other residents who've been there to kind of get the real, like, hey, how do they treat us here, So I would do some research on that. Probably not a bad idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right.
I think it was great information, John. Thank you.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Lanisha, how do I get? Let me see if I can put something in the chat so I can. We have a chat.
There is a chat, but I don't think that she can reach you through our chat, but she can reach me and I can forward it to you.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Or you're at Bethel Bible Village, right? Is there just a good number I can call over there?
Or I can just give you my number.
Oh, this is recorded. I don't want to put your number out there for the whole world.
No, I'm just, I can send it to you in a chat on here. Like,
I'll put mine in the chat. You gave me up.
okay.
We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
Done it.
There we go.
I did it. Well, this was meant to be, Lanisha. So good to see you.
Wait, can you hear me? Is it?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good to see you too. Cause I can never tell whether they got it muted or what.
No, you're straight. How far along are you? How pregnant?
I'm 6 months.
You're 6 months. Where are you delivering?
She's pretty pregnant.
Yeah, it's crazy. They got me.
Okay. And it's a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
What's his name?
I don't know yet. Like I'm gonna wait till I get to the hospital to see how he looks.
Do you see how he looks? Well, all newborns are ugly, so.
I know, right? That's why I'm scared. I'm just like, I'm not taking.
Baby.
I mean, but it needs to be true because like about that first day.
He said all newborns are ugly.
They're ugly. If you remember anything from this session, remember that, kids. All newborns are ugly. Your baby's not cute.
Yeah, I ain't gonna let nobody take my picture the first day.
Little alien baby. That's all right. All right. Did you get my information?
Yes, sir. I'm about to text you. So.
All right. Yeah.
You already got my number.
Yeah. Hit me up. We're still working with your homegirl.
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, I had your number the whole time. That's the pregnancy brain. I'm gonna take you still.
It's real.
I'm gonna mute us. Thank you.
Absolutely. What a party. Okay. I got her. Sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, John, so much. I think it was definitely beneficial. And Morgan, thank you for jumping on. And I know we haven't met like even this way. We've only chatted via email, I believe. So thank you. Next week, you might want to get some of your kids to jump on too, because next week we have a former chief police I think he's in Pennsylvania. So he's somewhere up north, and he teaches kids and adults, this is what he does professionally, how to be safe online. So he's going to teach the teens about cyberbullying, sexting, and all that, and how to be safe while they're on all these social media platforms. But
yeah, I'll definitely have my other girls in on that one.
Awesome. Yeah, jump on same time Tuesday evening next week. Look forward to seeing you all then. So thank you again, John. Everyone have a great evening. Bye.
See y'all.